All right, get ready because today's story is a wild one. We're talking about a boy who had to face a giant, 100-headed serpent. But he didn't use a sword, he used a dance. Yep, you heard that right. Let's jump in.
Okay, just for a second, picture your favorite place to play outside. Maybe a park that has a nice river or a lake. Now, imagine if a giant monster suddenly moved in and poisoned all the water. So poisonous, you couldn't even go near it anymore. Well, that's exactly the problem in the story we're exploring today. So let's set the scene. Our story starts at the beautiful Yamuna River. It should have been a place full of happy sounds, kids playing, animals drinking, but it wasn't, because this beautiful place was hiding a very big, very terrible secret. And that secret was a monster, a gigantic serpent named Kalia. And here's a cool new word for you from the Sanskrit language, Sarpaha. It means serpent. Anyway, this Sarpaha, Kalia, was so full of venom that his poison literally made the river boil. Whoa. I mean, this poison was seriously powerful. It wasn't just in the water. If birds tried to fly over the river, they'd just fall right out of the sky. And get this, even the wind was deadly. If a tiny drop of river water got carried by the wind and touched anything on the shore, poof, it was gone. Nobody and nothing was safe. But you know how these stories go, right? When things look their absolute worst, that's usually when a hero shows up. And a very special young hero saw what was happening and decided, nope, I have to do something about this. That hero was a young boy named Krishna. And here's his name in Sanskrit, which sounds so cool. Krishnaha. So Krishnaha saw how much sadness the poison was causing, and he wasn't afraid. He was determined. So what was his grand plan? He marched right to the riverbank, found the tallest tree he could see, and just started climbing. Up, up, up he went, higher and higher, until he was way out on a branch, hanging right over that deadly bubbling water. And right at the top, he just paused for a moment. He took a big, deep breath. He even slapped his arms like he was getting ready for a big game. And then he pulled his belt extra tight. He was getting ready for something huge. What could it be? And then he jumped, splash, right into the middle of the boiling, poisonous river where the monster lived. Can you even believe the courage? Well, Kalia, the serpent, was not happy about this. He came rocketing out of the water, so angry, and bit Krishna right on the chest. Then he wrapped his massive body all around the boy, squeezing with all his might. It looked like our hero was in some serious trouble. On the riverbank, all of Krishna's friends and family were terrified. They were crying, they felt totally hopeless. But if you looked at Krishna, even tangled up in the serpent's coils, he was completely calm. He wasn't moving, he was just waiting. You could tell he had a plan. And this is where the story gets really incredible. Because even though he was trapped, Krishna was about to show everyone, including that big serpent, what he could really do. First, Krishna started to make his body grow, bigger and bigger and bigger, until, pop! The serpent's coils just couldn't hold him anymore. He burst right out. Then he took this amazing leap and landed right on top of Kalia's many heads, and he started to dance. A dance! And think about this for a second. This serpent didn't have just one head, or two, or even 10. Kalia had 101 heads, and our hero Krishna was dancing on every single one of them. That's incredible.
Now, this wasn't just any old dance. This was a dance of victory. With every stomp of his feet, Krishna was hurting the serpent, sure, but he was also crushing the monster's pride. And that big, mean serpent started to feel weaker and weaker as he realized he was no match for this amazing boy. Just when it looked like it was all over for Kalia, something else happened. The serpent's wives came swimming up to the surface. They saw what was going on and they knew they had to do something. They bowed to Krishna and said something really surprising. They said that his anger was actually a good thing. It was like a medicine, they explained, that was cleaning Kalia up and washing away all his meanness and poison. And then they begged him, straight from their hearts. They said, "Our husband is everything to us. Please, please show him mercy and give him back to us." They were putting all their hope in Krishna's kindness.
And Krishna, seeing how much they loved their husband and hearing their prayers, he stopped his dance. He had already won. The monster was defeated. But now he had a choice. Would he be a hero of just strength or a hero of kindness too?
And here's the amazing thing he chose to do. First, he told Kalia, "You and your family have to leave this river. Go live in the big, wide ocean." But he didn't just kick him out. He gave him a gift, a blessing. He left his footprint on Kalia's head, which would act like a magical shield to protect the serpent from his other enemies. Humbled and so grateful, Kalia bowed and left for the sea. And just like that, the Yamuna River was healed. Its waters turned pure and sweet again.
So that brings us to our last big thought. Krishna was obviously super strong. He danced on a 100-headed serpent. But he was also kind enough to show mercy when he was asked. So that leaves us with a question to think about. What do you think really makes someone a hero? Is it their amazing strength or their amazing kindness? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining this explainer.